Alex.
Nathan.
Episode 6.
Yes.
Ferdotti Motors.
In Birmingham.
In Birmingham. Really easy journey for me. Maybe not for yourself.
No, absolute nightmare as always.
But we are at what I'm going to call the hub of fleet work.
It's got to be one of the biggest fleet specialists in the country, hasn't it? It's an amazing operation.
Yeah.
Amazing bloke.
Tim at Ferdotti.
For those who don't know him,
Yeah.
what a guy.
We're very fortunate to be close to him. And today we're going to get a tour around the garage and we're going to have a cooking class.
We are.
So
it will all make sense.
Yeah, it'll all make sense. Let's go and meet him.
Come on then.
Tim!
Nate.
How are you, mate?
Good to see you,
Good
Alex.
to see you.
Tim.
Good to see you. Right?
I think that's the first person we've ever hugged. But
Well, we know him.
Yeah,
don't
we
we?
do.
Oh, we know Leo actually.
yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Leo's weird.
Tim gets a hug.
Tim gets a hug. Tim,
Real privilege.
thank you for having us.
Pleasure.
Thank you for showing us around, and
Welcome.
it's very impactful already.
This is quite new, isn't it? This was part of a renovation.
Yeah,
Few
a couple of
years
years ago we decided we needed to up the reception game, and it's often said, isn't it, that reception's the most important room in the building when it comes to garages, because it's often all the customer sees is a reception.
So I can see separate waiting room off the reception.
Yeah.
Customers can help themselves coffee, big window so they can see in and out.
Yeah.
Part of that, it's the transparency, isn't it, which is quite
Well,
important.
we used to have a situation whereby customers were sitting right next to where their front desk was,
Yeah.
and they're sat there overhearing a lot of conversations, and actually it's nice for them to sort of have their own quiet space.
Yeah.
But the window creates that openness.
It's a very big, it's possibly the biggest garage we've been around so far
Yes.
in terms of
Capacity.
how many ramps, how many technicians?
25 bays,
25
28
bays.
staff. yeah.
Okay. How many techs?
13.
13. So 2 bays each, pretty much.
Yeah, so 2
Yeah.
bays per tech.
Yeah. And then what's the setup in here then? So we can see we've got.
So we've got reception here.
Yeah.
These guys are obviously welcoming customers, taking the check-ins, and then, but they're also service advising as well. And then that blends into the room just behind, which is a continuation really.
Yeah.
More service advisors in the back room.
What's the typical customer that would come through this reception? Like what in terms of fleet?
Well, we do retail and fleet, but we are predominantly fleet. And when we use the word fleet, it means lots of things, doesn't it? There's private fleets, which is your kind of local electrical contractor that's got 20 vans or 20 cars and vans. And then you've got your big fleets, like your Amazons and your Network Rails and your DPDs, which are leased vehicles with fleet management. And we have everything across that range. So predominantly what you're getting walk through here are drivers of fleet vehicles that work for organisations and companies who are here dropping off their vehicle for whoever they work for. But the actual people that we're liaising with for the work is the leasing company.
Yeah, so the driver's not the owner.
Correct.
The driver is just dropping the car off, but you're actually dealing with ownership elsewhere.
Yeah. So if you imagine a triangle, you've got garage, driver and leasing company.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're working through that relationship. So the driver gets all the service and they're looking at sort of the experience. The leasing company is getting the bill.
Yeah.
And
So
looking at the downtime.
And looking at downtime. And then obviously the leasing company and the driver, that relationship is, as long as the driver's happy and we're providing the right price to the contracted terms, they're happy with
It
us.
all works.
Yeah.
I know you've got a little treat for us today, and I think over that we can pick your brains a lot more on fleet, because there's a lot more that I want to know about fleet. It's not something that we don't know. You do a bit of fleet.
Yeah.
We're just getting into it. It's a pretty big talking point, so
It is.
we'll pick your brains on that. But shall we have a quick look around elsewhere?
Yeah, let's
I'd
do
love
that.
to see the workshop control.
Yeah.
What the workshop control looks like. That'd be really cool. So
Sure.
yeah.
We'll go through?
Go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
As we walk through to workshop control, talk me through this, Tim.
Okay,
T-card
so this
system.
is our T-card system, and it gives us a bit of an overview of what's going on in the business at any one time. Yeah, it's quite a busy period at the moment.
It gives you certainly an appreciation for the volume.
They don't use this in terms of, they don't sort of operate this screen.
Yeah.
It's literally just an overview.
Bird's eye view of what's
So
going
in
on.
workshop control, there's obviously a lot more interaction about logging
what's
into
going
jobs, seeing where the jobs are at, and certainly for the service advisors, as you can see, they've all got 2 screens.
Yeah.
So they'll have the schedule, the T card on one, and then the jobs that they're working on the
Yeah, I
other.
love that.
So for those that are using Garage Hive, they may have not even seen this screen before. This is a very unutilised feature.
It's all fully customisable.
It's a great way of seeing exactly where things are at, where the drives are at. You can literally glance over to the screen. You can also get a picture of how busy the workshop is as well.
And this is a big touchscreen, isn't it? Which
Yeah, you can just swipe jobs
around
around, which
as
you
well.
helped us set up actually.
Yeah.
Because we were struggling with
Look
the.
at you two go.
I know, I know.
Friends. Right, anyway, let's, before you
Yeah,
guys
yeah, sorry.
finish what you've got going on here, some sort of weird bromance, if you're going to have a look at Workshop Control.
Let's go.
Let's go and have a look.
I'm just jealous.
Yeah,
So is this Workshop Control?
No,
Right.
This
Okay.
is sort of a bit of a station for drivers and techs to be able to come to a screen and have a quick look what's going on. Maybe particularly if people need to move vehicles around, drivers are picking up a vehicle to take one away, they can see what vehicle they've got to get. The key safe's right here, so they can see key numbers.
So again, part of fleet is driver management, isn't it?
Yeah,
Collections, deliveries.
yeah, it's a big part.
So they're actually using the same system as everybody else to organise those collections and deliveries.
So your drivers are getting themselves updated on this as well?
Yeah, so each driver's got a T card. They can see what the workshop controllers sent them to either collect or deliver.
Yeah.
And then they're logging into Garage Hive, having a look at either the key number, the parking location,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and any details like address or contact details.
So you managed to make the whole thing digital.
The whole thing's digital.
Yeah. That's
I don't
awesome.
know how we would survive now,
Going back.
going back,
Yeah.
if I'm really honest.
Often the changes that are worth the most have the most pain, don't
The
they?
hardest to go through, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. We need to get to this workshop control for
Can
this
you- can we
maze
just
of
find this
building.
workshop
Yeah.
You want
yeah.
workshop control?
Yeah.
Should we go to workshop?
Yeah,
Come on
where's
then, let's go.
workshop?
Let's go.
Okay, still not Workshop Control? No? Ah, right.
Welcome to workshop control.
Here we are.
Here we are, finally, Nate.
Yes.
We got you there in the end.
Thank you.
The beating heart of this massive operation,
Yeah,
all managed by one superhero,
yeah,
One young blood
yeah.
one
How-
beautiful man.
holds it all down. Yeah, so I imagine obviously Ethan's in control of all the work here. Is it in every workshop? Is he holding it all down?
Yeah, so the way we work is the service advisors will send the jobs onto a line on the schedule that's called requires allocation. So picture those little checks that used to go up in front of the head chef,
Yeah.
and then Ethan will assign those jobs to the different techs.
Yeah.
And then the techs will liaise with the service advisors in job
Yeah.
in terms of what they need, authorisation parts, and then the service advisors, once they get authorisation or parts have arrived, they'll then put it back on the schedule. And
So
Ethan will
have you
assign
managed to get a lot of that communication digital?
It's all digital. Ethan's job is very much to look at the overview of workflow and also work coming in from collections and deliveries and make sure that the work is flowing in and out of the business. So it's an overview.
How is priority discussed within that? Because obviously there's some time restrictions.
Yeah. So that again, that's all built into Garage Hive.
Okay.
We have a big focus on what we call the top comment. Because on Garage Hive,
Yeah.
the top comment always shows up when you hover over that allocation
Is the preview.
as the preview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we put a big focus
That's your
on.
headline, isn't
That's
it?
the headline.
Yeah.
So if something's happening on that job,
What is
Ethan,
it? Yeah.
the tech, anyone, the driver can see immediately what's going on with
Did
that
you
job.
always have a workshop controller, or is it?
It was an evolution that happened through COVID actually. So we used to have a head tech stroke workshop controller, but the problem was he was getting bogged down in jobs and trying to distribute jobs.
Yeah.
Having a dedicated role means they can literally focus on the flow of work through the workshop. And if you're in the fleet game, it's all about downtime. It's all about downtime.
Can't let them down.
You can't let them down. Downtime, in most cases, is a higher priority than cost.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
if
it
a vehicle-
inevitably comes cost, doesn't it?
It's a massive cost them on the other end if they've got a
Correct.
vehicle on
Yeah.
hire, which from somewhere else, or obviously a person not being able to work because there's no vehicle for them. Then
I think the workshop controller role is a really interesting role there, because I don't think it comes natural to a lot of garages, in that they will have a manager and a service advisor, but taking sometimes a technical person off the tools
Yeah.
to help organise 6 people better,
Yeah.
where you have someone who's just responsible for making sure that the flow of the work is good.
Yeah.
That allows the techs to do a better job, but I think more importantly allows the advisors to do a better job.
Yeah. The thing is, it's difficult to see that until you do the calculations.
Yeah.
So if you take a workshop controller role, what a lot of garages are probably thinking is, well, I'm paying another role, and they're not customer facing, and they're also not what, I don't like this word, productive. I personally think everyone's productive, or they should be. You're either earning parts margin as a service advisor and obviously getting the hours for the job, or you're actually turning the spanner. Everyone's productive in my eyes. But if you take a workshop controller, if they can increase everybody's output through efficiency gains, just by, in our business, half an hour on a job
That's a lot.
each day, in our business, that's 60k on the bottom line.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
It pays for a workshop controller.
Yeah.
It pays for a
Although I'm
workshop.
sure Ethan's probably on a bit more than that maybe.
Sitting there thinking, now.
No.
Yes.
This episode just cost us a lot of money.
Yeah.
Just give him the key to the mint.
Right, cool. Well, I'm getting a bit hungry.
Mustamate thinks my throat's been cut. Honestly.
Should we go and have some food?
Yeah.
Let's get upstairs.
So
and have some
well, we'll take a walk through the workshop
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
we'll swiftly make our way up to the.
Yeah, to where we're
Let's
going.
do that.
Let's do the rest of the tour in the kitchen.
Oh, these are interesting actually, because they're the ones that you can move around. Yeah, that's a mega bit of kit. That was the room that we built that T-card system in.
Really?
Yeah.
So Tim, this is meant to be an office, but it very much feels like a kitchen. Is this where the business is done?
It is. I mean, some people do business on a golf course, but I like to invite customers and do business around the breakfast table while I'm cooking for them.
I absolutely love it.
I thought I might cook for you today a nice spaghetti carbonara.
Oh, amazing.
Authentic Italian.
Are you going to teach us as well?
Would you like to learn?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah, I think everyone would like to learn. Yeah.
All right
I'll
then,
go back
okay.
and tell Nat how to do it. She'll really appreciate that. Yeah.
It's kind of one of those dishes that everyone loves, isn't it?
Yeah.
Spaghetti carbonara. There's a few little secrets. So that's pancetta, which we've cubed up. Got some eggs here, which we've cracked in. And to make the sauce, we're going to put some pecorino cheese.
Okay. Not just normal cheese.
No, pecorino cheese is
Not a bit of
sheep's-
cheddar.
Yeah.
Not a bit of cheddar.
Not in this office.
That's one strike. Okay. Nath, do you mind just mixing that up for me?
Okay.
And we're going to get some black pepper in there while you're doing that. Okay. So the pan's nice and hot. Okay. We're going to get some pancetta in there and we're going to get the pasta on. Pancetta in. That pancetta, okay, is full of fat, and that's where the flavour is. And what's happening is the fat's going to what they call render, which basically melts. And once the pancetta's cooked and crisped up, what I'm going to do is take it all out and then throw the pasta in. There we go. So that pasta's going to take about 8-9 minutes to cook.
Okay.
Pancetta will take around about 8-9 minutes to cook. We put it all together and we're eating spaghetti carbonara.
Amazing.
Okay.
So while we're doing that, then let's find a bit more out about Ferdotti Automotive. Where did it all start?
1977, my dad started the business with a partner called Don Ferguson. So they took the Dotti off Guidotti, that surname, and the FER off Ferguson and made Ferdotti. Started the business, and actually they did start in the fleet world. So there was a company with about 12 lorries. They had a yard, and at the front they had a little building, just a little small garage. And the haulage company said, you can have that building and rent it off us and carry on looking after our trucks. And that was the first customer that got the business going.
Amazing.
So when did you join the business?
I'm 42, and all my Saturdays and holidays from a kid have basically been here. But I never really planned to be part of the company and to enter this trade. I went to uni in 2001 and studied mechanical engineering. And as I finished that degree, we lost our biggest customer. I wouldn't say it was existential, but it was a big problem for the business. Redundancy papers had to go out. Yeah. And being Italian family, you know, we're very close. I had to come into the business and help to rebuild the business. And I said to Dad, if I'm coming in hook, line and sinker, let's do it. So we set up a new entity. I went half and half with my dad. We bought the goodwill of the previous business and we started out together in 2005, 20 years ago, with Ferdotti Automotive Limited. And then in 2019, I bought Dad out completely. But he's still here every day. And he's MOTing, road testing, driving. It's brilliant. Keeps him active.
So you've grown, I mean, you've got 5 workshops now. You've
Yeah.
grown pretty quickly over those 20 years.
Yeah.
Have you still got plans to continue to grow?
In the last 10 years, we've grown from 1 workshop to 5, but the previous 38 years before that were actually 1 workshop. So a lot's gone on, and the way we've done that is by seeing opportunities and taking them. And do you know what? We can plan things and growth, but we need to go where the opportunities are. So for us, we've just last year opened our 5th workshop, and then going forward, at the moment, what we're doing is we're maximising what we have with our 25 bays, which is a bit of work to do. And then from there, we'll look at new opportunities across Birmingham.
And I guess with fleet is some of those that growth comes in spurts, doesn't it? In that,
Yeah.
if you talk about a retail garage, you might gain a customer in a single day that has a family of cars, 2 or 3 cars.
Yeah.
You could gain 1 customer that has 200 vehicles, couldn't you, quite easily?
Yeah. What I'd say about fleet is dependable, regular work. Sometimes it can be a little bit low paying, but not always. Depends how good you are at negotiating. For us, we find it quite profitable. But what it does is, if you're dealing with utility fleets and, you know, fleets with businesses and organisations, you can plan and predict work volumes going forward. So what that does is the risk taking that you have to make in terms of buying a new building and expanding with another 5, 6, 7 bays, you can go, well, if I've got these fleets and then I win another 3 or 4 fleets, that's going to pay the bills.
Quite predictable, isn't it?
Yeah, it pays the bills. And a lot of businesses that I've met that do fleet, they all have a similar philosophy that fleet enables them to grow.
Yeah. So this whole hospitality, you're not joking about this, are you? This is how you have operated in winning business. Because fleet to me has always felt a bit faceless. It's a corporate doing business with a business, fleet manager dealing with a service advisor, but somewhere there's a person making a decision, isn't there? That
correct. I'm just going to put the pasta into that fat now. Okay, so that's where the money is and the flavour. So I'm going to take that pasta. Okay, pop it into there. Do you hear that? Beautiful.
He knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
it's the multitasking.
Every company has got people behind it. And the idea is you meet those people and you build relationship. And I've always been about relationship. Maybe it's the Italian roots. And what better way to build relationship than over food? So when you're in the fleet game, there's a lot of audits you have to do. There's annual assessments where they want to go through your paperwork and your calibrations. And so we sit down, we go through all the business, and we have a meal together. Yeah. And it brings us back to who we are as humans.
Yeah,
the primal thing we have to do is eat. And all the barriers break down. And then we're just 2 human beings having a chat, eating some lovely food. And that's how we've built relationships over the years. And where you're sat, some of the highest ranking fleet officials in the biggest leasing companies that we all know have sat where you've sat, eating a bowl of pasta, which probably costs about £5 to put together. Do you know what I mean?
So true.
Old school.
Yeah.
Can't beat it.
Nathan, I know your appetite. I'm actually a bit concerned I didn't put enough
I don't
pasta.
think we did, mate. Yeah, absolutely. You know what it takes to feed me.
Okay. Gents, the pasta's cooked. I've put some pasta water in there to liven it up.
Yeah.
And we've got what we call the pasta sauce for carbonara. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put that onto the pasta, but it's got to be taken off the heat. Let's get that in there. All right. So one of the little tips I wanted to give you is everybody thinks you've got to add cream to carbonara or butter to make it creamy. And actually the secret is this. You take your pan once you put the sauce in and you just pop it on top of your boiling water. And that's going to slowly heat up that egg and cheese sauce. And it's going to turn it into a creamy mixture. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, with such a large workforce, how are you keeping them upskilled? Like, what are you doing to keep the technicians on top of the game?
So a few years ago, we started something called the Ferdotti Training Academy. And what that was a way to take the guys and build a training program that was bespoke to them. We're using external training providers for that. But over time, I become more dissatisfied with the quality of training. Oh, you want a bit more, do you? Yeah, okay. So we launched our own training academy in-house. And what I did there was I contacted an IMI trainer, an assessor, and asked him if he would partner with us to come in 2 days a month and build an in-house training program with live jobs and a classroom that we've put together inside the business, where he can look at every single technician and take all of them on their own journey.
Fair play, mate. That's a serious investment in.
But I suppose what you get back off the back of it is serious progress.
I can imagine the buzz afterwards as well, because whenever you get good training, your spirits are raised, aren't they? You get like it must feel good in the workshop post training.
So he recently did a day on AdBlue and DPF training, and he came in and the guys were buzzing because they came out with new confidence.
Yeah. They just want to apply it.
Yeah, and interestingly,
because they're there.
Yeah.
As well.
when I was talking to the trainer, he said to me, one of the things I love about this idea is I get to see the techs again. And a lot of trainers do 2 days or 1 day of training with techs and they never see them again.
Right.
So they never see the
they're
ongoing.
part of the journey, aren't they?
So he's now part of the journey.
You can reflect on the same timeline that they're on.
Exactly. He's even got Ferdotti clothing with his name on. So he's our head of training.
Yeah.
And it means that we can actually take the techs on a real developmental journey. How is it, Nath?
Yeah, that is unbelievable.
This is not your regular carbonara. This is not shop bought stuff. This is real Italian passion. More passion, more energy in a carbonara. Wow.
How was that, lads?
10 out of 10. I'd
Tim,
say.
unbelievable.
All right.
Yes.
Are you going to make this for your good ladies?
I feel like it's...
I might show this video. And
yeah, I think this is about setting the bar, isn't it? And you've done that for us, even with something that seems so simple.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I've got one last treat for you. As you know, I co-own a bakery business.
of course.
And so this morning I went and picked up some treats for you.
Okay.
Which we have right here. Here we go, gents. So obviously, you know, it's wonderful to have a bit of sweet, but the great thing about this is you're going to be able to take some back for your ladies at the end. So they'll get to enjoy it as well.
And she is a big fan.
Yes,
Tim,
they're both on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
For
you
a great
so
day.
much. And
Pleasure.
I feel like we've taken so much from you. I feel like there's so much more to give though, but we've just run out of time. But you are going to be a guest on the podcast and we will get right into the mud of Fleet.
No problem.
I think what would be a good idea is if anyone's got any questions, that if they drop them on this video, we could maybe get them answered on the podcast.
Yeah, I like that. Because Fleet, it has this perception, and I had the same perception until I met you. I think to a lot of people, Fleet's misunderstood.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get my head around it now, starting to understand the potential of Fleet. And I think that you've got a lot of those answers and a lot of advice to give. So to your point, Nate, if anyone does have any questions, and please get them in the comments. And when we sit down for the podcast, which will be an hour and a half of talking about operating in Fleet, then we can get the questions answered, can't we?
Yeah. But I mean, for now, these garage tools, piece of cake.
On to the next one then, Nate.
On to the next.
Well, after this, Kate.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Tim.
Pleasure.
Very much.
Good to have you here, guys.
Nice one. Cheers.